Hey, Mike with Nerd Problems Gaming here, and welcome to Nerd Problems Gaming, the channel where we go through the good and bad of everything nerdy to make sure you spend your time on the best of the best. In today's video, I'll be doing a review of Blossom Tales, The Sleeping King, so let's get into it. So this game plays a lot like an original SNES or Game Boy Advance Zelda game, that top-down dungeon crawling game. And the story itself is basically kind of unique. It follows a grandpa telling his grandkids a bedtime story. And so basically the hero is Lily. She's a brand new knight in Blossom Kingdom, and what happens is the king's evil wizard brother tries to take over and puts him to sleep, and then is trying to kill the king eventually, and again just basically rule the world and rule the kingdom. And your job as this new knight is to go and save the world, find these ingredients across the land to wake the king up, and then again defeat the evil wizard to again save the land. And so again, it's similar to a Zelda game. So if you like those original top-down Zelda Super Nintendo style games like A Link to the Past or some of the Game Boy Advance games or even the Game Boy games like Link's Awakening, I think you'll really like this game. Now, it's an indie game, so it's maybe not necessarily as long as the Zelda games, but there still is definitely a lot to this game as well. The gameplay itself is really good. It just, again, feels like you're playing an old school Zelda game. So that's, again, one of my favorite games to play. So definitely high praises to this game to getting that right and continuing with that formula that works so well. Again, with this game also, the puzzles are pretty challenging. I would say that they're probably more so challenging than the Game Boy Advance games or any of the Game Boy games or the SNES games as you're playing through, but the overall difficulty of this game isn't necessarily that hard. So I think this could be a good entry point as like your first kind of game in this series, or maybe if you were a fan of Zelda games growing up and you want to introduce your young kids to the series and genre, I think this would be a great place to start because it's fun, it's great controls, the gameplay is just like you remember in old school Zelda games, but again, it's kind of easy in that sense compared to those as well. I think just the biggest reason why is that you get a lot of potions that restore your health. Like, for example, also your magic bar kind of automatically refills as you go. So you have potions to refill it, but it's not like in the Zelda games where once you use it, it's gone, and then you'd have to find new items to kind of fill that back up as you play. With this, it just automatically regenerates. Plus, there's all kinds of potions, and there's even items that resurrect you from the dead if you happen to die throughout the game as you're playing. And, you know, for me, when I actually beat the game, I think I had something like 15 to 20 potions to fully restore my life, and 7 or 8 of these items that would fully revive you. So something like being able to die 20, 30 times on the last boss, you know, again, it doesn't make it super difficult, but it was a fun game to play. I really enjoyed it. Despite being a very easy game, it was a lot of fun. Again, the story is pretty funny too, because the grandpa and the kids that are hearing the story are always kind of breaking the fourth wall. So every time you reach a new area, they explain a little bit more what's going on, and then the kids have funny comments. And so that's entertaining as you play to kind of run into that, breaking the fourth wall through the storyline as well. Another thing that I really enjoy about this, if you're used to playing kind of the old school Zelda games, typically you have your sword and then one other item that you can use. This game actually ups it, so you have basically your sword and 2 other items that you can use. And I really like that. I think one of the annoying aspects of those older Zelda games, or even kind of the newer ones sometimes, is that you have all these items in your inventory, but you constantly have to be switching them out. And so just having that additional button that you could use made it a lot simpler, where you didn't have to necessarily switch things out all the time as you're playing. You know, obviously I think that that makes sense because you have more buttons on controllers these days compared to, you know, a Super Nintendo or a Game Boy or an NES as you're playing kind of those old Zelda games. So being able to do that in this game was definitely a breath of fresh air. And you'll also find a lot of the similar type of items like a bow and arrow, a bomb, a boomerang, But then this game also throws in some new ones that they made for this game specifically. And so that's cool that they took, again, that formula that works, but then added more to it, a little bit more dimensions with it as well. So I definitely enjoyed that aspect, trying out these new items and new weapons and implementing them into the gameplay. Also, this game, I got it on sale and it was like $7.50 when I got this. And so that is a heck of a steal. And when it comes to this game, there's a lot of content to it, a lot more than I thought, especially with the price point that I got it at. I definitely think this game is worth picking up if it's even in the $20 to $30 range. I think you get a decent sized game and then great gameplay and a fun story as well. The only thing I guess I didn't necessarily like about this game is just that it was kind of overall easy, and you know, the puzzles were challenging, but the gameplay itself, having so many items to refill your life and revive from the dead, made it pretty easy when you were playing it. You know, obviously you could try and go hardcore and not get any of the heart pieces or anything like that, but at the same time, the difficulty wasn't necessarily there, but the gameplay was a ton of fun. And so I still recommend this game if you like Zelda games, if you like the Super Nintendo Game Boy Advance style of the Zelda franchise. I think you'll really like this game as well. But let me know in the comments below if you like this game, if there's other Zelda-like clones that I should pick up or play. Let me know in the comments below. But again, guys, if you like this video, be sure to smash that like button. And if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications, as it really helps out the channel. And then if you'd like to help us support the channel, help us get out content faster and more, consider becoming a patron of ours over at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Patreon. And if you'd like to plug into our live streams and Let's Plays we do on the channel as well, you can follow us on Twitch over at nerdproblemsgaming.com/Twitch. But once again, thanks for tuning in, and we'll talk to you more soon.